Merry belated Christmas and happy belated holidays. We have made it to the end of December here in year number 3 of the Las Vegas High Rollers MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K26. Today we're going to make it roughly up to the trade deadline, so around a month of action to get through, including our very first prospect profile of the season. I'm excited to dive deeper into some of the top prospects in this year's class in just a few minutes. As it stands now, the Rollers are currently 13-20. Haven't played well as of late. We were right around 500 through the first 20 games of the year, and we've kind of fallen apart a little bit since then. As we take a look at the standings overall, the Rockets are just on another tier of their own. They're beating teams by 21 points per game. Although the Thunder have won 9 in a row, the Nuggets have won 4 in a row, and when we played against the Rockets in December, we only lost by 2, which is honestly kind of impressive. Currently, with a 14th seed, we are currently 4 games out of a play-in spot and only 1 game out of being the worst team in the conference. The East sucks, like, even more than normal. Who's the best team here? I don't really know. Atlanta's the number 1 seed, Philadelphia the 2. Charlotte has been a pleasant surprise this year. Their young core finally coming along. They're the number 3 seed, although their point differential is only .1. The Heat are number 4. Detroit and the Knicks, who were really supposed to be at the top, are currently in 6th and 8th, although their point differentials are 3rd and 2nd in the conference respectively, so they'll figure some things out. Minnesota's been pretty bad. That's a surprise, although Anthony Edwards has been injured, so that's the reason. And then the Wizards are just sorry. They are pathetic. Negative 21 point differential. That is embarrassing. When is this team going to figure it out? They pick in the top 4 every year, yet they're always at the bottom. Something's got to give. We dove deep into the seasons that our rookies are having in the last episode. We feel really good about our draft class from last year. We landed what we believe are 2 long-term foundational building blocks for this organization. That starts with Marquis Cannon with the number 2 overall pick, who has not really looked like a rookie so far. We knew the shot making and the three-point shooting would be good, but I didn't know how good the defense would be immediately, and I certainly didn't think he would be this impressive around the rim. 23, 4, and 3 on nearly 60% true shooting, and an estimated wins added of over 4.5. He is coming off a Rookie of the Month in November. He's probably going to win another one in December, and he's just been so consistent throughout the course of the year. He has scored double figures in each and every game that we've played. Had some really impressive stretches, such as that one at the end of November. I think he's played a little bit worse in December. He's averaging around 21 a game. His shooting splits are a little bit worse, I would say, than November, but still really, really good stuff. And as I mentioned, his efficiency around the rim has been a lot better than I anticipated. 66% in the restricted area. He's shooting it well from the mid-range. Those were question marks I had with him. His ability to drive to the basket, his ability to create his own shot inside the three-point line, and he's done great with that. He has higher estimated wins added than guys like Evan Mobley, Devin Booker, Ahmed Thompson, Franz Wagner, James Harden, Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards. Granted, some of those guys are hurt, but still impressive. That's some good company that he's sitting above. He leads the rookie class in terms of estimated wins added. In 2nd and 3rd, we've got a couple of teammates. Geno Hunt and Rakeem Miller have led an awesome rookie class in Sacramento. Neither of these guys were picked in the lottery. Hunt has been the microwave scorer that we thought he could, and he's got a little bit more to his game with defense and playmaking. And then Rakeem Miller, really good 3-and-D wing, 40% from beyond the arc. But after those guys, look who's in 4th. Noah Halliday, 4th on the rookie list in terms of estimated wins added. We went through his advanced numbers in the last episode. His playmaking is not just the best in the rookie class, but it's one of the best in the NBA, period. He's only 18th in points per game and 10th in terms of minutes amongst the rookies. But he's in the top 5 in terms of estimated wins added and could be the one who gives Marquis Cannon a run for their money in the Rookie of the Year race. He's filling up the stat sheet. He's been very protective of the ball. The shooting really isn't there yet. He's not a good scorer. He's not an efficient shooter. But if he figures out how to score the basketball, look out. He will become a problem because every other area of his game is pretty good. He's a great playmaker, great rebounder, super efficient. Had his first career triple-double against Portland with 0 turnovers, missed shots, or fouls. The first triple-double in NBA history to have no fouls, turnovers, or misses. Not bad for our teenager point guard who's been thrusted into the starting lineup with the injury to Devin Carter. So let's go through this year's draft class. The top of the crop is an interesting bunch. We've got a four-way race, I would say, right now for the number one pick. Of course, we have our own pick in the first round, but there's a chance we could have a second first-round pick. So obviously, we have our own pick this year, but we also have a top 10 protected pick from the Sonics. We got it when we moved down from number 1 to number 2 in order to get Marquis Cannon. That was the big asset in return that was enough for us to obviously go and make that deal. Now, remember, we also had Orlando's pick. We traded it to the Raptors when we moved up for Noah Halliday. The Magic pick is currently projected in the top 10, and they had the second worst point differential in the entire league. I certainly did not expect them to be this bad. Now, in terms of estimated wins added, Noah Halliday has been a top 5 rookie. But there's also a world where this Magic pick ends up being in the top 5. So both Halliday and the Magic pick have ended up being way better assets than anybody could have expected. In terms of our Seattle pick, it is top 10 protected. As we know, DeMarco Jefferson's not going to play at all this year. And that was part of the reason why Seattle made this move. They kind of figured they're going to pick in the top 10 again this year. They're going to get DeMarco Jefferson. They're going to add another rookie. They're going to have year 3 for Julian Wright and cap space to sign guys. And they hope that next year is the year that they'll really propel themselves, maybe make it out of the top 10. So as of now, we really only have one first-round pick. It is the 8th projected odds for the number 1 pick. We're really only 2 games out of like the 15th odds, but we're only like 2 games out of the 2nd odds. The bottom of the NBA standings are all over the place, other than the Wizards, who are just completely pathetic. So let's meet the top of this year's draft class. As I said earlier, I don't think there's a clear number 1 pick right now. I think there's 4 guys, 4 very different archetypes, very different stories, very differing skill sets in terms of who could be the number 1 pick. And I think if you were to ask around to the 32 NBA teams, who would you pick at number 1 right now? I think all 4 of these guys would be answered. The mock draft services, for the most part, have these guys in the top 4 in terms of their rankings. It's really pick your poison. Which player fits the roster the best? Which prospect do you personally prefer? I think we're going to have a lot of interesting discussions as we get closer to the draft on who the number 1 pick should be. As of right now, if I had to be a betting man, I think some team is going to fall in love with the theoretical upside of Memphis big man Cairo Bennett. I think he's the most raw of this group of 4. He's also the most polarizing. He's a 7-footer with a 7'7" wingspan. He's got unbelievable size and length. He grew up playing guard. He was a late bloomer physically. It's kind of a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways that he plays like a guard because on one hand, he can handle the ball, he's got good foot speed, and he's got good feel as a playmaker. But he's also not natural around the basket. I wish his touch around the rim was a little bit better, although I think the C+ grade for his inside scoring is a little bit harsh. He's also not a great post defender yet. The idea with him is that he could become a great interior defender because he's got the size, he's got the length, he's got the athleticism to eventually be an anchor in the middle of the defense. But right now, he's not a good interior defender and he's not a good rebounder because he's been trained to play like a guard. So I think on one hand, you could be looking at a 7-foot point forward with Bennett, but you're also looking at a guy who's not really made to play the 5, even though that's what he's built to do. So it's an interesting dilemma. I'm fascinated to see what the dialogue around him will be once we get a little bit closer to the draft. University of Florida forward Tarek Moreland is your favorite hooper's favorite hooper. He's a 6'11", smooth like silk shot maker. He's got a 7'8" wingspan. Players who are as big as him should not be able to handle the ball and create his own shot like he does. But he's got value off the catch. He can really shoot it. One of the best three-point shooters in the entire class. With his combination of size, shot making, and shooting efficiency, there are some shades of Kevin Durant. I'm not saying he will become KD, but there are some flashes of that. I think the rest of his overall game, though, needs some fine-tuning. I think he's got the size to be a multi-position defender, but he's not a very good defender yet. He's also not the most explosive in terms of his athleticism, which I think limits his ceiling in terms of going to the rim. Comparing him to a guy like Marquis Cannon, he's bigger than Cannon, arguably gives him a little bit more upside, but I also think he's worse defensively than Cannon was a year ago. Jazario Mwangi, you want to talk about defense. This is one of the best non-center defensive prospects in decades. This guy will be competing to be the Defensive Player of the Year during his rookie contract. He is one of the few prospects who I can say with confidence in recent years can guard the 1 through the 5. But he's got a little juice to his game offensively. A lot of work to do on that side of the ball, but he can get to the hole. He's an extremely explosive athlete. He's improving the handle. He's improving the outside shot. And he's got a pretty good feel as a playmaker. You're drafting him, though, for the defense. 6'9", 235. He's built like a bully. He's got great foot speed. He can match up with guards on the perimeter, but he's got the physicality to bang down low with the big boys and play the 4 or the 5. Mwangi, I think, will be an instant contributor to whoever picks him, but his offensive ceiling may be a little bit limited. And then the fourth and final guy right now in this top tier is Zyshawn Billings, a 6'4" point guard from LSU. He's a true offensive catalyst. He can create his own shot for himself and others. I think his all-around game, though, is really solid. He's a good defender, pesky on the ball. He can really guard on the perimeter, and he can play on and off the ball offensively. Obviously, LSU has played him primarily with the ball in his hands because he's such a good playmaker and he's such a good shot maker. But I do believe he will be able to play off the ball at the next level. He's big enough. He's fast enough. He's a good enough shooter off the catch. I think his combination of shooting prowess and playmaking ability, being one of the best passers in this class, will make him an elite offensive player pretty early on in his NBA career. A lot of young guards generally see some growing pains offensively, and I'm sure Billings will have his fair share. But I think you're looking at someone who's got the chance to be a Luka Doncic, a Cade Cunningham type of impact offensively. He doesn't necessarily compare stylistically to those guys. He's not as big as them. But I think the idea in terms of the impact that Zyshawn Billings could provide as a potential long-term number one option for a team if he can reach his ceiling. All four of these guys are very different in their own ways. And again, I think depending on the team you ask, there's going to be a lot of different answers in terms of who the number one pick is right now. Then we get to that next tier of guys. We'll start with Valentino Ramirez from Spain, the top international prospect in this year's draft class. Ramirez is a 7-footer who can stretch the floor onto the perimeter, but he can really guard down low. I think he can play the 5 at the next level because I think he's got a good enough anchor in terms of what he can provide as an interior defender. I think he can play the 4 because I think he's got long-term perimeter shooting upside, and he can guard the perimeter a little bit. So I think that positional flexibility that he has will make him really valuable and one of the first players outside of that top 4 group to be selected. I almost think it really should be a group of 5 at the top, with Ramirez being that 5th guy. Georgetown guard Batir Bayarsekan has been one of the most fun stories in college basketball this year. An unknown freshman to a breakout superstar as a sophomore with the Hoyas. He can really put his head downhill and get to the basket. I think there are shades, again, this isn't a one-to-one player comp, but I think there are shades of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the sense that he can get to the basket with ease, and he's so efficient, whether he's open or he's being guarded tightly around the rim. He's one of the best play finishers in this class, whether it's going up for a layup or playing above the rim. I think he's an inconsistent shooter, but he has improved his shot making, and he's got a really good knack as a playmaker. Bayarsekan is one of the best offensive prospects in this class, and much like Zyshawn Billings, I think the upside is that he could be a number 1 on a team as a scorer. Nolan Armitage from Purdue is a 6'9" point forward. He can handle the ball, he can pass it a little bit, and I think he's sort of the modern-day forward that you look for in terms of versatility on both ends of the floor. He can guard multiple positions, although he is a little bit inconsistent right now defensively, but I think the idea with him is with some fine-tuning, this is a guy you feel confident with on the perimeter defensively, but also, again, banging down low a little bit with the big boys. 6'9", 220. I think what's most impressive about him at his size is he's got really good feel for the game. He just looks like a natural basketball player out there. He's got great instincts. He's a good playmaker. He sees the floor really well, and I think he's going to be a very fun player at the next level. Yager Princeman from Canada and the University of Houston was built in a lab to play for Kelvin Sampson. 6'8", 230, grit. Now, my question with Yager is that there's no way he's 18 years old. He looks like he's about 30. He's a really impressive athlete. He's an awesome defender. He can guard, I would say, the 1 through the 4 at a pretty high level. Not a great offensive player yet, but he is young, or so we think. I really don't think this guy's 18 years old. There's no way. He's built like a grown man, and he plays like a grown man in the Big 12. If he is 18 years old, though, imagine how good he could be in the long term defensively. I think he could be one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA. Demian Precocious from Oregon is a naturally gifted shot maker. It's like he came out of the womb with the ability to shoot from 25 feet off the dribble. It looks like he's been doing it his whole life. Again, I think there are shades of a little bit of James Harden with him. He's got that lefty stroke. He can really shoot it from beyond the arc. I know the B- grade doesn't look that exciting. His efficiency isn't the best, but he takes a lot of difficult shots. I would like to see the shot consistency improve a little bit, but he's a great shot maker. The question with him, though, is his size. He's listed at 6'2". Watching him at Oregon, he's not 6'2". I think he's at least 6'4", maybe taller. So if he's going to be the 9th overall pick, standing 6'2", think about how high he could go if he's 6'4 or 6'5. He's a good playmaker. He's a good defender. He's tough. He's physical on that side of the ball. If he goes to the combine and measures in at 6'4", why not have him go in the top 5? I think that'll be a real conversation for teams depending on the measurements once we get closer to the draft. Precocious might be the first player ever to have the school list him as smaller than his actual height, which is pretty funny. Normally when there's a question of size, it's that the player is listed as something taller. Roman Rice from Germany and the University of Arizona is a guy who I think NBA teams are going to fall in love with. The statistical production isn't really there yet, but he's 6'10", over 230 pounds, 7'6" wingspan. I think he's a great defensive prospect. He's got an unbelievable motor on that end of the floor. I think he's got the potential to guard multiple positions. I think he's a little inconsistent at that now, but could get to that point. Same can be said with the three-point shot. He has shown high levels of deep range, but again, the shot hasn't consistently fallen yet. I think with his combination of size, length, versatility, and feel for the game, he could be one of the best players in this draft. KJ Bumholster has broken out as a junior from the University of Oklahoma. He's the current frontrunner to win the National Player of the Year. A talented point guard who, again, can really create his own shot. Another lefty. I like what he provides defensively, though. A lot of times with these smaller guards, they can't really play defense. That's not the case with Bumholster. He gives 170% on that end of the floor. Look at this possession. He got the steal on the other end, up and in with the layup, and he pocketed Zyshawn Billings, the LSU guard, on that play. I wish he was a little bit better around the basket, and at 6'3", I think his ceiling is a little bit limited because he's a good but not great athlete. But he's a good three-point shooter, he's a pretty good playmaker, and he is an awesome defender. He will make your life a living hell. Even as someone who is smaller, he is a dominant defender who can guard multiple positions because he's got a 6'10" wingspan. His arms are long as hell. Mikel Newton from Texas is a really fun player, a 6'4" combo guard who generally is the lead ball handler for Texas. I do wonder if he can provide a little bit more off the ball, though. I think there are some flashes of shooting, although he hasn't really gotten to that point yet. Defensively, kind of in the same boat. I think he's physical. I think he's tough on the ball. But off the ball, I don't think he's a very aware player yet defensively. He doesn't always know where to be. He doesn't really know where to position himself. I don't think his feel for the game, especially defensively, is all that good. But he's really good at driving to the basket. I think he's a pretty good playmaker. He can guard multiple positions at a somewhat high level. So he's certainly got a unique skill set that honestly isn't that different to Noah Halliday last year. I don't think he's as good of a passer as Halliday is. I think he is going to be a little bit better as a scorer right away. But overall, I think the two of them do have a lot of parallels, interestingly enough. Hamilton C. Schultz from the University of Cincinnati is the pick-your-own-adventure NBA prospect this year. And what I mean by that is I think he's kind of a moldable ball of clay. He's 6'8". He's a little bit of the tweener. He's not big enough to play the 5. I don't quite think he has the perimeter ability to play the 3. What he is, though, is an extremely explosive athlete. I think he's going to be great in transition offensively early on. The hope is that he'll be a little bit better in the half court as he develops. But as I said, though, I don't think he's as good of a perimeter shooter or a perimeter defender you look for in someone who plays the wing. but he's not big enough, and he's not good enough down low to play the 5. That's why I kind of see him as a moldable ball of clay, because I think whoever drafts him can sort of develop him how they wish. He's got some ridiculously impressive athletic traits to where you can kind of mold him to be whoever you want. If you want him to be more of a wing, let's improve that outside shot. Let's improve our foot speed on the perimeter defensively. If you want him to be a big man, hope he gets a little bit taller, but add some weight, bulk up a little bit, improve his touch around the basket. I think NBA teams are going to really like him, even though the statistical production isn't really there, because he is a pick-your-own-adventure, and whoever drafts him can sort of develop him into whatever archetype they want. So I think all of that makes C. Schultz one of the most complicated prospects in this class. Zarian Ward from the University of Oregon, teammate of Demian Precocious, he's the exact opposite. Ward is a very easy projection. I see him as a 3-and-D guy at the next level. Good shooter off the catch. He's shown some shot-making upside. I wouldn't bank on that really coming to fruition, but as a stationary catch-and-shoot guy, I think he'll be really effective. Defensively, he's really solid along the perimeter. I think he can guard the 1 through the 3 at a pretty high level. I think he's got good enough feel as a playmaker to where there is some long-term offensive upside outside of what he provides now as a 3-and-D. But I think the floor with him is really high, and I'm pretty confident he'll be starting for playoff teams, even if he never becomes a great player, per se. The last guy we're going to go over in this episode is Stefan Brankovic, the big man from Serbia, 7'1", 240 pounds. Brankovic is a really fun player to me. I think he's a pretty good interior defender, and he can be a traditional 5, but he's got a little outside game as well. I think there's some three-point shooting upside. I think he can switch a little bit onto the perimeter defensively, and when you look at a guy who's got the combination of shooting, defensive versatility, but also good enough defender in the paint, really checks off a lot of the boxes for me. I don't really find many weaknesses with Brankovic's game. Now, I wish the outside shot was a little more consistent. It's not great or anything right off the bat, but it's good enough to where it's something that I think really could develop in the long term. Really fun group of prospects at the top of this class, and there are a lot of other good ones below these guys. I'm excited to go over more players as the season goes along, but for now, this is what our top 15 looks like. The mock drafts are kind of all over the place. They don't all seem to have the top 4 in the top 4. I don't think they're very good, but we'll take a look at what the Sporting News has. So they have us at number 6 with Nolan Armitage. Now, that's the Seattle pick, and if it ends up at number 6, we're not going to get it. We would only get number 8. We would pick Adrian Abando, the center from Arkansas. We didn't get to talk about him today, but we will next time around. They have Bennett at number 1, Billings at number 2, but then Tarek Moreland all the way at number 5, and Jazz Mwangi at number 9. So kind of all over the place with those top guys. Let's take a look at our schedule over the next month. I've had this little spot marked on the calendar since the start of the year because I knew I wanted to play against Charlotte. They've got a really interesting group, and they've had a nice year, 18-13 in third place in the East. Granted, they're only 8th in point differential, but it seems like they've finally got something going with this young group. We play them twice. I think I'm going to simulate to play the game on the road. Of course, we are quite a bit shorthanded. No Devin Carter, Messiah Ritchie, Derek Lively, or Julian Strother. We should be getting Strother back soon, which is exciting because he hasn't really played at all for us. He broke his ankle in the second game of the year. We are a little bit shorthanded in terms of our bigs with no Lively and Ritchie. Mark Singleton and Asa Newell are going to have to hold down the fort. So we've got the Bucks, the Grizzlies, and the Nets. None of these teams are very good, especially Brooklyn, but we could easily win all 3 of these games. I would like to. We don't, but we do win 2. We got blown out by the Bucks, which is not a great look, especially at home. Marquis Cannon shot a tornado. Yikes. Jalen Matthews, second-year undrafted player with 28. The 2 rookies, Hakeem Ujale and Laurent St. Pierre, both outplayed Cannon. But then we won our next 2. We blew out the Knicks. Really well-rounded team effort. Jeremiah Westblade, the rookie, leads the Grizzlies with 21. And then we beat the Nets in a low-scoring defensive battle, 20-11 for Latonka McClain. Cannon had 24, but on 25 shots. Matherin had 20, only on 10 shots. Not a great shooting day whatsoever, but the defense played really well. So let's now look at the Hornets. They are 18-14. No more LaMelo Ball, of course. He was recently traded away to the Raptors. They've still got Brandon Miller. They gave him an extension this offseason. He's played pretty well, 20 points a game, 5 boards, 5 assists. league average-ish shooting. I would argue their best player, though, has been Knippel. 20 a game on just otherworldly shooting. 66% true shooting. He already has estimated wins added at 5, which is 22nd in the NBA. That's in the conversation of guys with LaMelo Ball and Kevin Durant and Marquis Cannon. Pretty good company. They've got the reigning number 1 pick, Tony Mariano, from a couple years ago. His numbers are lower this year. It's because he's played less minutes. I'm not really sure why. All rookie and all defensive team a year ago. His efficiency has improved a little bit, and if you look at the per 36 numbers, he has gotten better from last year. The assist-to-turnover ratio has improved, but I guess he just hasn't really progressed as quickly as they would have hoped, similar to Mark Singleton with us. They've had 6 first-rounders over the last 2 years. We will not get to see Henri St. Fleur, but we will get to see Jacoby Kane. We'll get to see Kayvon Rivers, who will play. Talented stretch big, picked in the top 10 a couple years ago. I was hoping to see Amir Richardson, who was their top 10 pick this year, but he ended up not playing in this game, although I do still really like his future. Marquis Cannon is the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Look who's in second, though. It's Noah Halliday. So it looks like there's a good chance that Cannon's Rookie of the Year competition is his teammate in the starting lineup. How crazy is that? Regular group for the Rollers, or at least regular given the injuries. It'll be Noah Halliday, Benedict Mathurin, Marquis Cannon, Aaron Wiggins, and Mark Singleton at the 5, with Nick Claxton here for the tip in Charlotte as it goes to Claxton and the Hornets, and we are underway. Happy New Year. It is January 1st, 2028. Man, time sure flies when you're having fun. Pass is tipped, intercepted. It's Aaron Wiggins looking to run the floor. On the other end, it's Benedict Mathurin. The line 2 rattles in for Ben Math, and it's 2-0. Brandon Miller with it on the left wing. Miller looking for space, finds Mariano to Knippel, up to the big man, Kayvon Rivers, who's missed the last probably 3 or so weeks with an injury. Former top 10 pick out of Baylor. He can really shoot it for a big guy. Here's Tony Mariano. What a move! The Italian Stallion in his second year almost won the Rookie of the Year a season ago. Looks like one of the best players in that year 1 draft class, of course, being the number 1 pick. Knippel up in the air as it's 7-2. Very good start for the Hornets. Marquis Cannon around the screen. Nothing but net on his first 3 of the night. It's now 7-5. Quickly up the floor. Knippel again. The Rollers unable to get anybody back quick enough. Got to get back there defensively. That's unacceptable. 9-7. Here's Noah Halliday with it. Up for Benedict Mathurin, looking for the screen. Guarded by Mariano. Mathurin inside with a dime for Wiggins. What a pass. And Aaron Wiggins continuing to save basketball. He's in with the dunk. Mariano jumper won't go. Halliday the rebound, looking to run the floor quickly for the Rollers. Halliday inside for Mark Singleton. His first points of the game, a powerful slam. That impressive run the Hornets started the game with has evaporated. 11-9 lead for the Rollers. Cannon, 2 for 2. He hits another 3. Vegas on a 12-2 run right now. Marquis Cannon shooting the ball well, and he needs a good shooting game. He's been on a little bit of a mini slump. Finally starting to look human, if you will. Mariano with it, gets it up for Brandon Miller. Miller flings himself off of Benedict Mathurin as he is in for the layup, and it's 14-11. Halliday up and in, no good. Singleton the rebound, pump fake. Singleton, second effort as he gets the layup to fall off of his own offensive rebound. 16-11. I think our offense is playing really well right now. Halliday trapped inside for Singleton, who makes the reverse slam. These two guys are in sync right now. Some impressive two-man action with Halliday and Singleton as Mariano grabs his own miss and is in for the putback. 18, now 19-13. Knippel up for Kayvon Rivers. Rivers around the screen, looks to drive in left side. Rivers with the poster over Singleton. Couple of top 10 picks drafted pretty much right next to each other in that 2026 draft. Off the miss, here's Brandon Miller with it inside. Miller connects with Nicholas Claxton, who makes the dunk. Rollers call time. Lead is within 2. Now make it 3. 20-17. Here's Trey Mann leading the second unit for the Hornets with a nasty move on Rivers. Up and in for the layup, and the lead is back within 1. Off the Abaji miss, Claxton the rebound, gets it up for Mann, and here comes Charlotte looking to take the lead back. Man with Rivers looking to get around the screen. Little pick and roll action as Nick Claxton sends it home. Charlotte up by 1. Rivers all the way, nearly dunks on 2 defenders. That would have been nuts. Here comes Charlotte. Brandon Miller, pull-up jumper, no. Rebound, Jacoby Kane, the second-year big man from UCLA, in for the slam. One of Charlotte's 4 first-rounders from year 1. R.J. Barrett makes the layup, 25-20. Rivers brings it up for the Rollers. Rivers drives left on the drive. This time it is good. An impressive finish over the extended arm of Trey Mann. It's been a rough last few minutes, though, for us offensively. We scored 16 points in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. Over the last 5 minutes, we have 6. Looks like Barrett's going to try to dribble out the clock. Hardy gives him a little bit of room. That's actually way too much room. I wanted to bait Barrett a little bit into making a decision, but I didn't just want to give him room to walk the red carpet in for the easy play. Cannon to Hardy. Floater at the buzzer is no good. 27-22. Sloppy first quarter for the Rollers, only shooting 38% from the field. And to think we looked really impressive those first couple of minutes. Everybody was spreading the ball around. The offense looked like they were in a rhythm, and that was completely vanished when much of the second unit came into the game. Here's Tijan Salon in his 4th year, hailing from France. Up and in, making the play, 29-22. Jordan Holloway getting some reps. He finds Jaden Hardy. Hardy looks to go left. Instead, he's got Rivers in the corner, who buries the 3. He's up to 6. Kane guarded by Ace and Newell. 2 guys with a lot of similarities to each other as Newell helps force the turnover. Rivers has it up for Newell. Inside, Holloway in for the layup. Looked like Salon wanted to try to draw the charge on Ace and Newell. Of course, he's unsuccessful. 27-29. Here's R.J. Barrett around the screen. Barrett for 3. It's good. And Charlotte adds to the lead. They're up by 5. Here's Hardy trying to get some room here on Barrett. Hardy, step back 3. Won't go. Ball is tipped up into the hands of Jordan Holloway. Guarded by the former Roller, Johnny Furphy, as he's intercepted by Kane. Furphy's got it in his 4th year from Australia and the University of Kansas. Up for Salon, who misses. Another Jayhawk there, Ochai Agbaji with the rebound as he gets it up for Hardy. Over to Rivers. Rivers in the corner for Newell. It's been an offensive struggle, as you can see, so far in the second quarter. Someone's got to break the streak. Jet Rivers is blocked. Newell with the rebound and the putback. Good play there by Ace and Newell off the block by Jacoby Kane. 34-29. Here's Brandon Miller. It's intercepted. Halliday skies up for the steal with a dime on the other end for Aaron Wiggins. What a play there by Noah Halliday, reaching up to force the turnover. And then again, a transition demon offensively. Mariano lobs it up. It's a layup for Claxton. Would have been a little cooler if he, dunked it. But hey, 2 points is 2 points. Hardy misses the 3. Rollers struggling to shoot the tray ball in the second quarter as Rivers is in for the slam. It's a 7-point lead. Vegas calls time. Charlotte's offense has been really efficient today. They are not shooting 3s. They've attempted like 3 the whole game. And to their credit, they've made 2 of them as Miller's in for the layup. They're shooting everything around the basket. They've shot almost 60% today because all of their shots seemingly are within 10 feet. No good from Halliday. Singleton the rebound. He gets it over to Benedict Mathurin on the left wing. Mathurin through 3. It's good! Benedict Mathurin stripes it off the offensive rebound as it's 42-38. Morano guarded by Jet Rivers over to Kayvon Rivers. Rivers drives right. Floater is good. As far as I'm aware, Kayvon and Jet are not related. I didn't even make the connection that they had the same last name until right now. Here's Mariano with it around the screen. Pulls the 3. It's good! Given that Charlotte has not shot 3s today, it's awfully surprising that a guy in Mariano who's a non-shooter pulled it from deep with like 8 seconds left on the shot clock and drained it. As Noah Halliday's in for the slam off the pick and roll. Normally he's the passer, not the roller. Here's Kayvon Rivers on the drive. He's playing some outstanding basketball right now for the Hornets. Miller inside for Rivers and 1 over Halliday. Charlotte leads by a dozen. Kayvon Rivers is hooping. Rivers in the corner, Jet Rivers that is, to Benedict Mathurin, who hits the 3. That'll stop the little mini drought set here by the Hornets. Con Knipple with it on the drive. Jumper, no good. They're making all the contested shots and all the 3s, but they're missing that. Look at the ball movement. Ace and Newell with the slam. Elite passing. Nobody's allowed to dribble, I guess. Claxton gets it up top. Now it's Moreano with it. Moreano looks to drive in. He's got Rivers. Little pick and pop action. Another three for the Hornets. 19 points now for Kayvon Rivers, 14 of which have come here in this second quarter. Nipple dribble handoff. Brandon Miller hits another one. They are not missing from deep. They've finally realized that they're automatic from three, so they should probably shoot them. Rivers has Knipple with just seconds left. Knipple, another one. It's good! A 15-point lead. Charlotte letting it rain from beyond the arc. Abaji at the buzzer, no good. What was largely a competitive first half sees a 15-point Hornets lead going into the locker room. Charlotte's shooting nearly 60%, actually over 60% from the field. They've gotten most of their shots around the rim, hence why they've been so efficient. But they're not missing their threes. So far today, they are 6 of 7. No, I'm not joking. 6 for 7 from deep, including a perfect 4 for 4 there in the second. Here's Cannon with it, looking to start the third strong. Hit a couple threes early. Has been quiet since until now. Up and in with the slam. Good play there by Cannon. We shot nearly 20 percentage points lower than them in the first half. That's not going to win you many games. Moreano no good. Grabs his own miss. Gets the putback. He's another guy who has a lot of similarities, I feel like, to Noah Halliday. The two of them have certainly some commonalities in their game. Moreano definitely a better defender right now, though. As Aaron Wiggins hits the three off the assist by Noah Halliday. 63-51. Brandon Miller with it. Miller drives right. Miller, the former number 2 pick out of the University of Alabama. Roll Tide is in for the layup. Here is Halliday with it. Up for Aaron Wiggins in the corner. Benedict Mathurin around the screen. Ben Math hits the triple, his third of the game. We haven't really shot the three ball that well. We've got to get a few guys going here. 65-54. Moreano up and in for the layup. Look how many points the Hornets have. 67-54. Here's Halliday with it. Gets the screen. Halliday drives inside. Wide open lane. Too easy for Noah Halliday. The Aussie. 4, 4, and 4. Something tells me his favorite number today is 4. Rivers, no. Claxton the rebound. Miller, no. Claxton again. Has his back up top. Knipple's got Miller. Pump fake around Kayvon Rivers. Miller all the way in for the layup. Brandon Miller has been really impressive today around the basket. I mean, so has everybody on this Hornets team, but Miller especially has hit some really nice contested layups. Moreano misses a wide open three, yet Charlotte can hit the ones where we're smothering them, apparently. Good ball movement in transition. Wiggins makes the layup. Lead is within 11. Around halfway through the third. Charlotte calls time. Knipple with it in the corner. Has Rivers around the screen. Kayvon Rivers misses. Another offensive rebound. It's Claxton who puts it back in. The rebounding effort today has been unacceptable. Not having Derek Lively out there has really hurt. Jaden Hardy, no good. That was a perfect release. How did that not go in? Moreano's got Miller. Poster over Jaden Hardy. And it's a 17 out of 15-point lead. Claxton gets it up for Rivers. Hands it off for Miller. Pulls a three, and it's good. Brandon Miller from deep. 80-62. This one's getting ugly. Cannon is intercepted by Miller. Here comes Charlotte. Brandon Miller with it on the drive. Miller, layup. Yes, it rolls in. A 20-point lead for the Hornets. We've got to wake up. This is bad. Under 2.5 in the third. Tony Moreano with it. Moreano smothered by Rivers. Well, he was smothered. Not anymore. Misses the shot, though. We grab the rebound. Ochai Agbaji has Hardy. Hardy with Kane. Hardy over to Agbaji, hoping someone gets open, maybe on the perimeter. Jaden Hardy gets the screen from Agbaji. Deep three. Bang! We've got to start a little run. We've got to hit a few threes in a row. Here's Jet Rivers with it. Rivers on the drive. Layup. No. Rebound by Tony Moreano. Here comes the Hornets. Moreano in for the layup. And it's a 19-point game with a minute left in the third. Rivers gets it up to Hardy, obviously one of our better pure shot makers. Step back, three ball. Now he's starting to heat up. Hardy was quiet early in this game, but when he's on, he is impossible to stop. Here's Knipple with it. Under 40 to go now in the quarter. Knipple on the drive with a great pass. Moreano in for the layup. All these guys on the Hornets know how to play their role. Knippel can be the connective offensive piece, but he can also be the guy when needed. Today, he's been the complementary piece, making the smart decisions, making the right passes, as Ochai Agbaji hits the three. 88-73, 10 to go in the third. Mariano with the cross, gets it up for Kane, 6 to go. Knippel, three won't fall. Agbaji the rebound, Rivers is going to have to throw it up. Clank. 88-73 through three. We have not looked our best today on either end of the floor. Shooting's been inconsistent. Defense, I don't think, has been very good. I'm not going to get on us for the Hornets making all these threes. They haven't really shot many. What I'm concerned about, though, is the lack of defense on the interior and the troubles we've had grabbing rebounds. I wish our play from a guy like Asa Newell was better. Oh, man! Trey Mann! Step back! Jab step! On the three. 91-76. Here's Mann. Around the screen. Pick and roll for Jacoby Kane. Laying down the lumber as he makes the dunk. 93-76. Here's Mathurin with a nice move. Layup is good for Benedict Mathurin. If we want to start a rally, we've kind of got to do it now, right? 15-point game. Here's Marquis Cannon. Only 9 points for the rookie. Has space for three. It's good. We've got to get Cannon going. He's been a non-factor for much of the game as he's got Hardy around the screen. Hardy with a dime. Cannon in with the slam. Look at that. Leads within 10. Make it 12. We were down by as many as 20, give or take about probably 6-7 minutes ago. Here comes Charlotte. Brandon Miller with it. Miller guarded by Hardy. Blocked at the rim by Singleton, who punches it out. Hardy with it on the other end. He's got Singleton. Singleton inside, in the corner for Noah Halliday. He's got the mismatch with Kane. Halliday, floater, off the bank. And the lead is within 10. Miller, corner three. No, why is Claxton the only guy in there? That's not really on Mark Singleton because there was nobody helping with Brandon Miller. He had to be the one to contest the shot. We need to send help defense on the perimeter. That's not on Mark. As Jaden Hardy hits another three, leads within 9. As much as we've shot ourselves in the foot throughout this game, we're very much in it. Kane, fadeaway, no. Nice defense by Marquis Cannon. Under 4 to go. Cannon drives right, open lane. Cannon makes the layup. Where's the foul? It is a 9-point game again, 99-90. Mathurin, no. Newell unable to get the rebound. He has been useless with all due respect today. Mariano in the corner. Miller, bang! Big time make. For Charlotte, leads back up to a dozen. Mathurin thought about the shot, was a little too far back. He's got Halliday on the drive. Blocked at the rim by Claxton. On the inbound, it's Wiggins on the baseline. We've got 5 on the shot clock. Mathurin with it, looking for the screen. No one's open. Mathurin, step back, throws up some junk. We wasted the entire shot clock and did not score. Not good. On the other end, Kayvon Rivers' jumper is short. Wiggins the rebound. And here come the Rollers. Tipped into the hands of Newell. In for the slam. We were given one there. A gift. As Asa Newell takes advantage. There's a good play. 102-92. Mariano. It looks like a press. Newell tips it. Mathurin with the steal. And he's intercepted. You've got to be kidding me. We finally get a big defensive play. Asa Newell's finally awoken. Just for us to get the ball right back up as Claxton misses. Mariano the rebound. Mariano the putback. Both teams are competing to shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, what was that? They were trying to give us the ball back. They were trying to let us score. 104-92. Halliday called for the charge. That's not good. That certainly hurts our chances. Following possession, Miller, 3. No. Oh, my God, we grabbed the rebound. It's Jaden Hardy. He's got Newell inside. Mark Singleton. 13 and 11. Singleton's had a pretty good game, I would say, overall. Certainly better than Asa Newell. Here's Miller with it. Tipped, stolen by Hardy. Looking to run the floor fast. Hardy inside. Cannon. And one! Marquise! The cannonball! We are within 7. Here's Brandon Miller. Breaks the press pretty quickly. We want them to shoot the ball as early in the shot clock as possible. Mariano with Halliday. Okay, well, I didn't imply that I would want him to be that wide open. I mean, them shooting it early, it doesn't really help us if it goes in. Halliday, pick and roll. Cannon, he's played well in the fourth, up to 21. I think he has 12 in the quarter. 40 seconds to go. Rollers are not fouling. Are they waving the white flag? Rivers, the dagger. A 10-point lead for Charlotte. That probably just about does it. We're not fouling off the press. We can see the end of the road. We can wave the white flag. Miller ends it for good on the 3. And that will wrap this one up. 112-104, your final. Mariano dribbles out the clock. On one hand, the fact that we only lost by 8 is kind of impressive because we were down by 20. But, man, there were a lot of flaws in this game. I think we lost it more than they won it. I thought our rebounding was bad. Our defense in the interior was bad. And the Hornets did not miss many shots from 3. I mean, they were so efficient the entire game. They really didn't shoot many, but they all went in. 22 for Bedmath, 21 for Cannon. Both guys shot the ball reasonably well. I wouldn't say either of them were great, but they were both pretty good. 13 and 11 for Singleton. I thought Halliday was good other than the shooting. Again, Asa Newell, I know the numbers don't show it. I thought he had a lot of bad plays out there, struggled on the glass, wasn't good defensively. As for Charlotte, Brandon Miller was hooping, 26, 5, and 5, as was Kayvon Rivers, 22 and 8. I don't know how both guys only shot 50%. It felt like neither of them missed throughout the course of the game. 19, 8, and 6. Really nice outing for Tony Mariano. An efficient 11 for Knipple. 10 and 18 for Claxton. The team shot 11 of 18 from 3. They didn't attempt many from beyond the arc, but when they did, they were effective, making almost as many as we did on half as many attempts. So we're not going to make it all the way up to the trade deadline. I think up to that game against Orlando is where we're going to look. I think our schedule has some challenges. Detroit, New York, better than the record suggests. Golden State's going to be hard. Phoenix has been really good this year as Julian Strother is back healthy. That's really exciting. I was excited about this addition. He hasn't played really at all this year. Derek Lively, healthy, late during our stretch of simulated games. Thank goodness. So we can have Lively at the 5, Asa Newell back to the 4, Singleton back to the bench. Aaron Wiggins was playing really badly in the starting lineup. We're going to take him and Ochai Agbaji out of the rotation. Both guys are just not pulling their weight right now. They've been really bad as of recent. With those two guys out of the rotation, the only one of the original day one rollers who's currently getting minutes for us is Jaden Hardy, who was like the last pick of the expansion draft. Who would have thought? Derek Lively lasted one game before he got re-injured. Luckily, I don't think it's anything long-term. He didn't have to miss the next game against the Raptors, so that's good. What's not good is how we played during this stretch. 3 and 7. We got blown out by the Jazz. Sohan, 18, 6 and 6. Cannon, 1 for 9 from deep. Singleton, 1 for 7 overall. Yikes. Blown out by Detroit, lost by 25. Lost by 27 to the Knicks. 20 to the Hornets. 40 to the Suns. What is happening with this team? Offense was bad. Defense was even worse. 41 for Book. The Suns only shot 9 for 39 from 2, but get ready for this. 35 for 45 from inside the arc. That's what happens when you don't really have a true center healthy, as Derek Lively did not play in that game. We got blown out again by the Suns, and Phoenix is doing this without their second best player. Shout out Mark Singleton, who had a good game. But Phoenix is winning all these games. They're the 3 seed. They just snapped their long win streak, and they're doing this without Jamie Thompson. Devin Booker is playing phenomenal basketball. And then Thompson, I would argue, has been the best player in the 2026 draft so far in his second year. 20 a game on really good shooting splits. He'll be back soon. This Suns team has been the surprise of the NBA. They've been amazing, even without Thompson, who hasn't played since December. Luckily, after our 7-game losing streak, we won 3 of our next 4. Bulls shot 3 for 21 from deep, while Mathurin at 28. Cannon shot horribly. We blew out the Wizards, which doesn't really say much because the Wizards are absolutely pathetic. They did not win a single game the whole episode. Shout out Noah Halliday, best game arguably of his career. 17, 8, and 6, only missed 2 shots. But let's talk about the Wizards. They're 5 and 43. They've lost 23 in a row. They have not won since December 4th, but it gets worse. They started the year 3 and 3. Since then, since the start of November, they are 2 and 40. How, Sway? They haven't won in nearly 2 months. They've won 2 games since October. It's January 25th. And then we beat the Raptors. Cannon played well. He had 28. Mathurin 23. Halliday with 13, 8, and 8. Good to see the team playing better after a really rough stretch. Our rookie is starting to look a little bit more human. Cannon's true shooting went down. Estimated wins added didn't really go up. In January, averaging 19. Not really shooting the ball the best. I mean, it was bound to happen. He's a rookie. I feel like Noah Halliday is the only guy who had a good month of January. Shooting efficiency has improved. Counting stats have gone up. Other than Halliday, I don't think anybody else played well in January for the most part. Next time around, we'll make it through the trade deadline, likely up to the All-Star break. The bottom of the NBA is wide open. We're only 2 games out of the second worst record in the NBA. But we're also only a couple games out of, like, play-in territory, at least where the play-in teams in the East are. Other than the Wizards, this will be a fascinating group to watch shake up at the bottom. So that's where we're going to wrap things up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know which one of the prospects we showed was your favorite. What would you like to see us do during the trade deadline? Let me know down below. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Deuces.